When you need a podcast that talks about the heavy metal news, I hope you choose this one. It don't give you the blues. Jive Talkin with Shane Diablo, having fun, you're fancy free. We get to the bottom of the news, not all the news, but some of the news. So come on, baby girl, let's jive. Come on, baby, gonna start the podcast jiving, jiving. Come on, girl, now come on, let's jive. Before I even get started into this whole damn thing, I saw Big Tone. Okay, I was setting everything up for your comments at the end of the podcast, and he said, Shane, I hate to be but have we mentioned Paul Di'Anno? And he is correct. Rest in peace, Paul Di'Anno, the fantastic singer for Iron Maiden, whom passed away. One of the bangers that I'm just running free. You know, Wrathchild, all of that stuff. He was of course, he was on those first couple of records, yes. And then they got that other guy that's been, in the band 30 years or whatever. But rest in peace to him. He's not just something for the fucking trash. He's not something for the dustbin of metal. No, he is, he's one of the architects of all of this that's happened, okay? So we wish him well in the multiverse systems, wherever he has chosen to go, whether that's, combing Jesus' hair in heaven or whatever you're going to do up there, or Vector 7, or he's off to another place in time, somewhere in time. We wish him all the best. Welcome back to this episode of Jive Talkin with Shane Diablo, episode 153. Am I clapping enough? Yeah, everybody. Jesus. We've got a lot of stuff to get to, and I'm gonna piss everybody off right here, especially Miss Althea. I feel ashamed of myself, quite frankly. I feel terrible. I did not get the extension cord that I told myself all day long. Get the extension cord, get the extension cord. I didn't do it. I got a flat. I ran through. I really thought I could make it through these. These guys are cutting down some trees and stuff, and I really thought I could kind of do some trickery and get through, and a big thorn went in, flat tire, had to deal with that, and my mind got frazzled. So next week's episode will probably be longer than this one because I will have an extension cord. Let's have a little sippy here. Did you hear Herb Alexander, Tim Herb Alexander, just up and quit Primus? Again, I think this is like the third time he's quit the band. When they quit like that, though, I mean, you just wonder if there's some kind of breaking news story that's coming. He says, I got to get away from it right now before I'm just quitting. I'm running away. Now, I'm not saying that about Tim Herb Alexander. I've never seen Primus live, but I have seen Tim Herb Alexander live because he was in a band called Laundry, and they were playing at this small club that I was at. The strangest guitar and bass instruments I have ever seen. I don't even think you would call them that. And I don't think they're from this country or this half of the world. But it was him on drums and then these two other fellas. It was called Laundry. Go check it out. It's really kind of relaxing, dare I say. It's just kind of this trippy kind of music. And so I've seen Tim Alexander. We're going to get into this. We've got Eloy Casagrande. We've got plenty of stuff to do here. We might check in with Phil Anselmo and his he set up his haunted house again. He sets those up every year. He's a huge fan of Halloween. We might skip around and see what he's got going on here so we can copy it for our own homes, even though Halloween is now over. Drummer Tim Herb, the Herb Man Alexander, quits Primus again. Drummer Tim Herb Alexander, God damn, with the Herb, can we just call him Herby? Has left Primus. The news of his departure was shared with his bandmates who by his bandmates who claim that they received an email from him nearly 2 weeks ago saying that he had lost the passion for playing. I understand that passion. I've picked up a passion for the bass guitar, but I played drums for 30 years, and I understand not having the passion. I don't want to do it. Alexander joined Primus in 1989 and left in 1996, then rejoined when they reformed in 2003. He exited the group once again in 2010, but returned, good news, returned in 2013. I'm seeing a pattern here. Is he staying 10 years at a time? But he returned in 2013. Primus isn't planning to cancel any upcoming shows. Their New Year's gig will feature an augmented version of Primus featuring members of Holy Mackerel and Frog Brigade. And for Tool's Live in the Sand Destination Festival, they will be joined by the latter band's Danny Carey, Tool. When they say the latter bands, they're just speaking to the last band that I had mentioned in the, just now. And if you can, Danny Carey is in Tool, so Danny Carey will be on the drums. As for their 2025 Sesanta dates, they're planning on searching for the greatest drummer on earth. I know who he is. He's that Sabarino Sabatino guy, that El Sabarino Sabatino. He'll show up, he'll learn your songs in 5 seconds, and then he'll smoke a doobie and play them all with one arm. There's no need to search Primus. I know who it is. Primus' full statement reads as follows. On Thursday, October 17th. No, I'm not doing that. On Thursday, October 17th, we released an email from Tim, the Herb Man Alexander, expressing the effective immediately, he would no longer be involved with Primus. It came as a complete shock to us here in the Primus camp. Now, when we say Primus camp, we mean everyone that works for us, because they're included in. So that means the roadies and the groupies and all of it. On the heels of a wonderful spring and summer and touring, of touring, and some fabulous plans ahead, it has been a bit bewildering for us that Herby would so abruptly opt out. But he's done it 3 times, so you know that it's not shocking. Disappointing. We're not mad, we're just disappointed, right? After several attempts to communicate with Herby, his only response was another email stating that he had lost his passion for playing. As disappointing as that is, we respect his choice, and it's forced us to make some tough decisions. I am having the craziest freaking deja vu right now. I'm just letting you guys in on it. This isn't part of the deja vu, but me just reading this podcast to you a couple of lines back was a full-on deja vu. We considered canceling the annual New Year's Eve show. But after much talk, Les and Lair have decided to pivot to an augmented version of Primus. He says, Les, you know what we could do? We could do an augmented version of Primus. And Larry went, He doesn't speak much, does he? Wasn't Larry Lalonde in, I believe he was on that first Possessed record, if I'm lying, I'm dying. And something else in my brain wants to tell me that he took lessons from Joe Satriani. A bunch of them did out there. Has decided to pivot to a Primus, Holy Mackerel. Where's Les and Lair? I want to see what Les and Lair said. They've decided to do the augmented Holy Mackerel Frog Brigade. This will be an exciting special one-time event. As far as future Primus, the band is looking forward to performing in the Dominican Republic with Tool and others. Danny Carey. He has once again graciously offered to fill the drum throne for Sesanta's Primus plans on searching for the greatest drummer on the earth. Details to follow. Jeez. there's this guy, and I see him every great once in a while. But he walks up and down the road, past the bus stops and stuff where I'm at, right? And he's got a long cloak on, like Gandalf stuff. But it's kind of dark brown, with a hood that hangs down the back, and this giant staff. And I believe him to be a homeless man of some sorts, but he's got a massive staff, and on the end of that, it looks like this kind of crazy wiry tree, right, with little branches sticking off of it, and then these leather-strapped, like different rocks, right? So it's necklaces, so it's just dangling down, and he walks with this thing. And the first 3 or 4 times I thought, that's just crazy. But then I'm starting to think he's some kind of a serious businessman. The first thing, I saw him today, and it's freezing cold, and he didn't have a jacket on, but he just had that cloak, just a regular, shirt and jeans. He's like, well, I've got to find black jeans. I can't be walking around with blue jeans on. No one will believe I'm some kind of tripped out wizard or whatever. But I started to think he's nuts first. I was like, oh, he's crazy. And I'm still kind of leaning that way, only because it's cold and he's walking around with his rosy red cheeks and his beard and his hair tied in those, Viking knots and stuff. And I'm starting to think to myself that he's a good businessman that's crazy, because I was thinking to myself, I never see that guy at a Burger King. He doesn't carry water with him. He doesn't have a backpack. He's walking with the cloak and the thing and the necklaces, and that's it. I don't know why I shared that, but, it makes you think. That's savvy business, right? If you've got the nuts to walk up to him and go, hey, you, what's with them necklaces you got on that? Yeah, with the leather strap, the necklace, it's like a rope, but it's made of leather. With the little rocks, different colored rocks on it. You selling them, buddy? If you could get over that part, he might go, yes, I am, indeed. Let me show you. This gemstone right here is what you got a limp weenie? This gemstone right here is going to get that ding-dong just as tight and just as heavy as you'd ever liked it in high school, when you just sit at the desk. You just be sitting there thinking about nothing. Thank you for all the support and understanding. That's what Primus says. In July 2016, Alexander revealed that he suffered a second heart attack after he previously endured a similar health scare in 2014. That could be something right there. Did you ever think about that? Maybe he's having some health issues instead of, dealing with that. I'm not going to start that rumor, though. Let's get on to Eloy Casagrande, because he says, I want to tell you how I came to join Slipknot. He's finally going to get into the dirty deeds on that. In a new interview with ProMark drumsticks, I never liked them. I used the Vic Firth. I mean, ProMark's fine, but it just seemed a little. I like with Vic Firth. I like when you smack it. It's not as hard of wood. Does that make any sense? Former Sepultura drummer Eloy Casagrande explained how he can come to join Slipknot. Earlier this year, prior to the launch of the heavy metal giant's 25th anniversary North American tour, what they did, he said, I just got a call from the manager. He asked me if I was interested in doing an audition for the band. So I came here to the U.S. I spent 10 days with the band. We were just jamming, so we could check if there was some kind of chemistry between us. We spent like 4 or 5 days just recording new stuff. I think they wanted to check if I was able to compose some drum parts, to check if I was also able to record drums in the studio. Because that's a whole different universe, The live show is one thing, but I tell you what, the studio is a whole different can of beans. It's a whole different big old can of beans. After those same days, I went back to Brazil. And they gave me a call 2 days later saying, how long did it go? Oh, hi, Eloy. Yes, this is Corey Taylor here. How are you? And after those some days, I went back to Brazil, my homeland. And they gave me a call 2 days later saying I was in the band, that I made it. That was super cool. Reflecting in more detail on his Slipknot edition, Eloy said, I had like 15 days to learn the songs. They gave me a big list of the songs that I was supposed to learn. Every day in rehearsal, we were trying different songs, picking different stuff for different albums. But of course, I already knew how to play some of those songs. I remember the day that I was there. It was almost like it was only like a year ago or 2 years ago. I was warming up in the studio. I had like my pad, drumsticks, pedal. And the guys from the band, they started arriving at the studio. I says, oh my God, that's a clown right there. And over there, that's the big guy that plays the guitars. Sorry. When we play, let's see, and the guys, the band, they started arriving in the studio. I was in shock. When we played the first song, I did several mistakes. I felt shameful because I was so in shock to see everybody in front of me. I couldn't think. I couldn't even breathe. But they were like, okay, we understand that you're in a difficult situation right now. We understand your side. I mean, that would be pretty crazy, right? That would be pretty crazy to have them staring at you. Corey Taylor and those guys staring right at you while you're playing their tunes that they've played for the last 20 years. I mean, a little intimidating. We understand your side. So just relax. Have some fun. We're just here to see your vibe. And then, from the second day, I think everything got better. I was more relaxed. Because after they played that first day, they probably had dinner together and drinks, and they loosened up, played some darts, played some pool, played some, and got to know him a little better. He was more relaxed, play the drums, and just let the music flow. Casagrande said that it's a huge honor and a dream come true for him to be an official member of Slipknot. And he's not faking it either. He's a real member. I have been listening to Slipknot since I was a teenager. And it was very important to my musical formation. And here we are now. After a couple of months, we're here. When I was, 12 years old, watching them on MTV, playing Duality. Oh my goodness, look at this band on TV. I can't even believe how good they are. It was on MTV playing Duality. It blew my mind. It's just so honored to be here now. Now, I never even imagined that this was something possible. Possibly. There is the difference of countries. I live in Brazil. It's an American band. We don't forget that I was lucky to be at the right moment in the right spot. So I was invited to be here. I think that's great because then you get away from them. If they're like, bro, we're doing a fucking thing over at Tony's. I can't. I'm in Brazil, remember? In an interview with Tone Talk, Slipknot guitarist Jim Root spoke about how Casagrande came to join the Slipknot and his impact on the band's overall sound. He said, we didn't even try anybody else. Eloy's name came up. He contacted us, actually, about wanting to be a part of it and started sending a bunch of videos. I think him and our bass player, Alessandro V-Man. Do you know the V-Man? No one ever really calls him by his name, which is Alessandro Venturella. He's the V-Man. That's why we call him the V-Man, because that's one hell of a name to spit out. It might have been a little bit of a relationship before. I think they knew each other. They had mutual friends, and V-Man's really in tune with a lot of really great proggy, heavy musicians that are passionate about their instruments. And it just seemed like a no-dang-brainer. And he's really respectful of the legacy of Slipknot, of Slipknot's original drummer, the late Joey Jordison. Let's get out of that. Rest in peace, dear sweet Joey Jordison. I didn't mean to jump off just so hard, but Joey was a huge influence on him, on Eloy. Because he saw us on MTV doing Duality. And he's so humble. The dude has so much humility, and you could tell he just lives and breathes his craft. To the point where I see his passion and it ignites my passions for the instrument. Hear my guts? It just ignites my passions. When he's got his passions ignited, it ignites my passions about what they do. Okay? All right, we're done. We're done. I want to get into this, guys, because this is interesting. There was so much news that we couldn't get to. Michael Sweet, I wanted to get into the Michael Sweet Striper / Slayer concert. That's doable. I think Michael Sweet said, I think that's doable. I think it'd go quite well. And I don't think there'd be any problem to you. But there were so many things that we didn't want to get to, but I did want to get to this because Bill Kelleher of Mastodon opens up about the economics of touring for a band. And I find that interesting. We are going to, you got to have the trifecta. If you're going to have movies, you got to have a trilogy. So we learned that Jake E. Lee was shot. We learned that he was shot by thieves. Now we are going to finally answer that question. What the hell was he doing walking the dog at 2:40 in the morning when he saw the thieves and told them, hey, don't look at my friend's motorcycle, okay? But let's get into this because maybe it's interesting. Opens up about economics of touring. The band is the last person to get paid. So when you go out to the Mastodon show, just remember, they're the last to get paid. In a new interview with The Breakdown with Nath and Johnny. Nath? Or Nath? Isn't there a movie called Nathan and Johnny's? That had, anyways. Bill Kelleher of the world-renowned American metal band Mastodon opened up about the realities of post-pandemic touring, including increased travel expenses, gas, tour bus, hotels, and flight costs. As transcribed by Blabbermouth, he quite explained to us over here at The Breakdown. Well, honestly, it's a few different moving parts because during COVID, no one toured and a lot of places shut. And a lot of people, and I saw these guys during it. Because I think I picked it up from that night. Because I felt like crap for days after that. 15 to be exact. Anyways. A lot of moving parts. COVID, tour, place shut down. A lot of people changed careers like techs. Oh yeah. The work for bands went into real estate business and got regular jobs. Everyone was scrambling for money, and it was fucking disaster. Thank God I have a few Mastodon records under my belt. The trickle-down effect of supply and demand, getting places, for instance, petrol, it's what we like to call it, gas, if you common folk, it trickles down when the price of gas. I don't know what's going on here. People can't get gas. There's lines. It's all economics. Everything relies on transport, especially our band. And we had turned down a couple of tours in Europe just because we were going to basically break even. And there's a few different reasons for that. Because on one hand, you have the biggest production we've ever had in our careers, which is great. But trying to pull that off in Europe is much harder. First of all, you go back to the banner. Just hang a banner, bros. First of all, gas is way more expensive. The lorries, that's what we call them. The trucks, for you common folk. Am I right about that? Lorries are the... Did I just twist this thing up? Where's lorries? There we are. Lorries. The trucks, they're smaller. So we'd have to get a few more trucks, double the amount of trucks we have over here, because we call them trucks over here, they call them lorries over there. And of course, because they're called the lorries, they're much smaller than the trucks that we have here. Usually we rent from the UK, and the drivers, there were a lot of times we could find the vehicle, but we didn't have drivers, or vice versa. Lots of drivers, but no vehicles, because everybody's back on tour trying to make up that lost money during COVID, and it's still happening. Even though the last U.S. tour we did with Lamb of God was a huge success, it was great, best ever. But we can't have the huge production that we have in the States go over to Europe and not do the same thing. If you go over there with a backdrop, oh shit, he heard me. I got 2 bars on that sucker. He heard me, guys. If you go over there with a backdrop, you could make some money. Well, why don't you do it then? Take my advice. But if you bring lasers, video wall, all your crew and techs, the fire and all this, you can't do it. You can't do it. And the crowds are going to be like, oh, what the fuck? I saw this on YouTube. I watched this concert on YouTube. It was in Pittsburgh. And now they're giving us just a fucking banner. That's all we get over here. I see what he's saying. They just say, oh, what the fuck? Why don't you have that there? That here? And they're not going to comprehend what I just told you. We can't go to Europe because they don't speak English, or we can't go to Europe for a month and not make any money just to play shows. Everyone else gets paid. The band is the last person to get paid. A little bit more from Bill. Oh, Bill, I think it was 2 years ago in August, we went to Japan. And we barely get to Japan, either just because the economics and the cost. And I'm reading real shit today. And Japan's the cities are kind of spread out, and it's difficult to maneuver sometimes. It's like this, feng shui, flow. That's the way their cities are. You got to weave through the bus. It's too tight for the bus. It's too mastodon. It's too tight for the bus. I'm losing it. The cities are kind of spread out. It's difficult to maneuver sometimes logistically, even though they're the best crowds. How dare you? Every time we go over there, they're so precious. What's that? They're so precise. Is that the word? If you borrow amps or rent amps there, hire equipment stuff, they're amazing. They pay attention to detail, and they're just amazing. We went over there, and a lot of fans, I mingled in the crowd a little bit, and we played just one festival over there. I was like, why can't we play like 3 or 4 shows while we're here? We just can't. Talking to people, they're like, Japan, it's started letting people congregate in groups now. What did I miss? We just can't. Talking to people, they were like, Japan just started letting people congregate in groups now. This is 2.5 years ago, whatever. All right, we're done with that. Jakey Lee's going to tell us what he was out doing walking the dog. If you don't know how to do it, baby, show you how to walk the dog. Jake E. Lee. I mean, well, I'm going to go ahead and say it, just a damn shredder on that guitar. He was, well, I'm going to say it, nearly executed by 2 ruffians that were over there hanging out by his friend's motorcycle. And his friend was sound asleep because it was 2:40 a.m., so his friend wasn't up. He was probably deep into a REM sleep by that point. And old boy here, he's out walking his dog. And so now, finally, after all this saga, 2 episodes, we're finally at the 3rd saga of Jakey Lee, and we're going to find out exactly why he was walking that damn dog. CoCo, whom he didn't name. Don't even get into that, okay? He didn't name the dog. His girlfriend did. And they're broke up now, but she left the dog. Jakey Lee explains why he was walking his dog at 2:40 a.m. before he got shot. Jakey Lee says that he is on the mend. Jakey Lee does say, he's confirming to us he is on the mend more than 2 weeks after former Ozzy Osbourne guitarist was shot in Las Vegas. The 67-year-old musician was hit 3 times in a shooting about 10 miles away from the Las Vegas Strip earlier on Tuesday. You know it's coming. I got a burp coming. It's coming. Las Vegas earlier on Tuesday, October 15th. He was later taken to the beautiful Sunrise Hospital and Medical Center Intensive Care Unit. I love it. Earlier today, this would be Wednesday, October 30th, Jake took to his social media, the Red Dragon Cartel Facebook page, probably. After all of this, his girlfriend said, "Babe, you got to get online. No more using that Facebook page. That's old news, dude. You got to get yourself a Twitter and let these people know you get a following." Jake took to his social media to share a photo of his beautiful dog, CoCo, and he included the following message. Hi, been 2 weeks, so I feel I should post something up, I guess. I'm on the mend. No complications so far. Can't put any weight on my foot for another month. So I have a knee scooter. Can we talk about the knee scooter for a minute and how difficult they are to maneuver? I've got a knee scooter for around the house. More fun than the walker. Okay. No updates from the detectives on the case. I will address the time of the day. I was walking my pup at to fill some space in this post. That's it. He likes to get a good paragraph when he posts. So he's like, well, what am I going to do now? Honey, what am I going to do? Dear, you just tell him, just be you. Just tell him about why you were walking the dog or so. Just let yourself out. Your fans want to know, Jake. You're right, dear. I'm going to tell him. He backs it up. Hi, hey, what's going on? Okay, detectives, haven't heard from them yet. I will address the time of day that I was walking my pup at to fill some space in this post. I am a night owl. Always have been. My wife works graveyards in a casino. 2 to 3 in the morning is the middle of the day for us. And during the summer, with temps at 115 to 120 degrees Fahrenheit, during the day, walking CoCo CoCo in the early morning can still be over 100 degrees. So now what he's doing is laying at your feet. You bastards want me to walk my dog during the day and it die on me? He's turned it around on us. We thought he was foolish for walking his dog at 2:40 a.m. and now he's turned it on us. So we walk when it's coolest. And have for the last 2 years without mishap, until recently. Nothing nefarious. Okay. Now, what you been waiting for? Another CoCo pic. CoCo pic. Jake's daughter, Jade, shared the first photo of the guitarist after he was shot. Check out our Facebook page. Oh, on October 20th, Jake posted a photo of his dog on the Red Dragon Cartel Facebook page. Yep, and gave salute to Sunrise Hospital for their wonderful work. Is the pictures down here? Oh my, that's CoCo. Yep, see, look, Facebook, and that's the Jake E. Lee's Red Dragon Cartel Facebook page. Look at little CoCo. She says, my daddy got shot. Poor little bugger. Phil Anselmo, want to see a little bit? Let's just little bit of his.
Well, look out, Jesus Christ! All right, here we go. We go through here.
Right out of the gate. Jesus Christ.
Bog zombie making a return.
Oh.
Everything's a wreck right now. You know, we're 6 days out. Nothing is perfect.
Nothing's done, Phil. You haven't done a
We
lick.
got this tent out here, man. It's berserk.
I'm telling you,
Watch your step here.
one of the scariest things, Phil Anselmo with a half drunk with a fifth of whiskey in his hand. Put that out on the front porch of your haunted house.
We'll open this up for haunt time, but can you feel it?
And he
You're the
probably,
presence of
he
lycanthrope.
doesn't even
And then I
charge.
have another werewolf that goes right here in his base. We're trying to get him working, but he's old and
Yeah, he's done it many years.
see. Which brings us to
Uh-oh.
look at this beautiful scene. Full moon, and look at the frickin' clouds. Look at these wolves.
Yeah, that is a master class in haunted housing.
Pretty good, huh? You feel like you're being
It's got like a
harangued
mommy and a daddy. Those werewolves, it was like a little family
by
there.
the werewolves.
I think he likes them.
That's another word you don't hear too much, and for no reason at all. Cerberus. Okay.
What is it? Phil, what was the name of that three-headed dog? You knew the name of it. Anyways, let's get into your comments. That's right. We got 2 bars. Guys, I won't be so anxious in the future, okay? Cut me some slack here. I failed. I didn't get the extension cord. I talked about it all week. I looked around the house. I can't find the damn thing. And so we're kind of on a time crunch, and I'd like to get to your comments. That's where and I forgot to say at the very beginning of the podcast too, no request zone. Sean is in here with a request in the comments, but I deserve the cat and nine tails. He puts in requests with donation, I'll say. And so, you know, we got to make sure we're doing good. I don't like to leave anybody hanging. All right? Johnny the John Man B coming in here. Another week and another award-winning episode of the Jive Talkin with the one and only Shane Diablo. I laughed, I cried, and not only did I learn something about myself, but I learned how to be a friend. That's beautiful. The more you know. How's that for dramatic opener? That's wonderful. Johnny B says, to clarify, and he told us the story, Mr. Ed Van Halen was not commenting on my big ass, which I do have. You got a juicy. It's all right. Junk in the trunk, that's fine. I think when he said that he meant, when he said that, he meant just in general. I'm 6'4". Wow. And at the time, weighed in at 290 pounds. I was big. He could have called me anything, and I wouldn't have cared. My right fist bump Eddie Van Halen's right fist. I was ready to pass out. I mean, and you know, there is still somewhere in your skin particles some of Eddie Van Halen's DNA, somewhere. And let's not forget the exchange of breath. So some of his went in yours, and then your big ass got some in his too. Johnny B says, love the tea you shared with us, pertaining to As I Lay Dying in the Patreon. Good stuff and informative. You did mention you shared a loft with the painter, but not I didn't share a loft. We lived in a basement apartment, and it was not in a good part of town. Painter, but not standing in the window half naked playing the sax type of loft. I feel like maybe you've done that before, or maybe still do. Why is that giving St. Elmo's fire vibes? Yes, 100%. I always had this recurring dream. I have a couple of recurring dreams. One of them is I'm in way better shape than this. I have just made love to one of the most beautiful women. And she's laying over on the bed in the silk sheets. As I lumber out of bed, look out over probably 32 stories of New York City or somewhere like that. Somewhere just beautiful with the lights on. and I start blowing into a saxophone, just, and the camera kind of pans down the crest of my back to my strong buttocks, and then back to her, and she's just in awe going, my God, he made love to me, and now he's serenading me. Not with that voice, but, and then the other recurring dream that I have is, and I love this and every time it happens, the Maroon 5 song, oh yeah, I am in misery. That song is playing, and I am a unbelievable badass on 1980. I would put this back into a late 1980s era, this dream, but it's just nowadays, right? That song is playing. I'm in roller skates. I am cruising through the mall, and I'm doing spins and rolling backwards, and everybody I pass is like, there's Shay, shit. The corn dog on a stick, what was that called? Hot dog on a stick. They swing out and hand me a corn dog, and it's the greatest dream. And I love it every time I have it. But back to you, Johnny B, here we go. Just read the book Brothers. Okay, yes, by Alex Van Halen, and it's magnificent. I suggest reading it or getting the audiobook, which I am waiting to come available. I hope he reads it. From Hoopla, free audiobook with the library card. I had that set up too. I don't think it was called that, Hoopla, but I had this set up to where you check the book out, and if it's available, you can listen to it, but if it's not available, you're on a waiting list, and it ticks down. What I was going to say about Alex Van Halen, I was watching an interview. He's very eloquent. He just did an interview like on October 24th of this year, and he sits down for an hour interview, and I always thought he would be some kind of a dumb fella, and he was just lovely. So I'm looking forward to this. I will get it. I will check that book out. And Johnny B says, get it, bro. You'll like it. Great episode as always, Shanester. Until next time. Oh, I thought those were those little drippy things for a minute, but it's music notes. I can see a new horizon underneath the blazing sky. I'll be where the eagle's flying higher and higher. Yes, there you go. There's your heart, my friend. Why does that sound familiar to me? But it's just not. It's not coming to me. Big Tone. All right. We already read his because he said, Brother Shane, great show today. Question: have we discussed the passing of Paul Di'Anno? I don't recall, but hey, I'm old and I'm a survivor of the mighty 80s. And that is why we did that at the very beginning. Rest in peace and rock on, Big Tone. Kelly, ready for the wigs. That's going to be a little while out, but that video, he's talking about the video where we take all the bald musicians and put wigs on them. That's coming. Miss Althea coming in with her goody goodies. The dumbstruck fool says Wigapalooza. So it will be like a heavy metal version of the work room on RuPaul's, Drag Race. And I am here for it. I want to tell you guys something, but I can't tell you because I want to do a finale. And I got an idea for a finale. Like once we've gotten through the several people, including Phil Anselmo, with wigs, I want to do a grand ending for it. So, and I really want to tell you, but I'm not. Miss Althea on As I Lay Dying, does any good ever come from Murder for Hire? I don't think so. The only other thing I can really say about the whole debacle is that maybe they should have chosen a band name that wasn't so foreboding. Yeah. Hope they'll all either have decent day jobs or can secure slots maybe in other bands before the next rent or mortgage payment is due. Yes. Miss Althea on Jakey Lee, kudos to him for being a mindful neighbor. He literally took a bullet for the safety of someone else's property, and the least the dude could do is give him a ride. Get him on the bullet bike, get him hugging each other real tight, and zip him 100 miles an hour across the freeway to say, let Jakey Lee's hair blow in the wind a little bit. Say thank you. He literally took a bullet for the safety of someone else's property. So many would not be so brave, let alone observant. Continued best wishes to him on his recovery. Miss Althea on Rob Halford. Not to mention Drag Race again, but I swear I would not know who Lady Gaga is if it weren't for that show. Yeah, she's there. They got her on season 1. I live under a rock, and yes, cross-pollinating is allowed. All styles of music influence all style of music, and you're not betraying one if you listen to another. Rob also mentioned, because Rob Halford was talking about how he's going to listen to Lady Gaga when they're putting him in the coffin. He loves her. Rob also mentioned Taylor Swift. Does anyone know or remember she collabed with Def Leppard? Or that Def Leppard collabed with her for an episode of CMT Crossroads in 2008. Well, I'd like to see that. Pour some sugar on Taylor in the name of... Miss Althea on Paul Stanley and Vinnie Vincent in a scrap. Topic revisited. I may not be remembering the story entirely. Okay. I did not know that in the Lick It Up years, Paul and Vinnie got into a little scrapity-doo. And she's going to retell the story as it comes. I may not remember the story entirely right, but if memory serves, on the Lick It Up tour, there was an incident where Vinnie was going on entirely too long with his solo. I vaguely remember something about him playing long solos that was pissing everyone off. So Paul insisted that the rest of the band return to the stage to put the kibosh on it. But Vinnie still kept playing. Apparently, Paul threw a punch at Vinnie backstage, either between songs or after the show. Regarding Mark St. John, and you've probably seen the video by now that we did on him. Sad tale. Even my beloved Eric Carr spoke of how difficult he was to work with from the get-go. There is an interview with him about it on the Eric Carr Revealed channel, run by the author of the book, The Rise of the Fox. Oh, all right. On a related note, and not to make this about me, but I found out a few days ago that the photo of me and Eric together from the Meadowlands in New Jersey on June 30th, 1990 is out there in its full glory on the Eric Carr Revealed Facebook page. Really? Did you post it, or you found it on there and went, what am I doing? What am I doing in the Eric Carr Secret Revealed Facebook group? Maybe she'll tell us here. Just take a minute. It's out there in its full glory. Eric Carr Revealed Facebook page. Also run by the book's author. Dan had submitted it to the page several months ago. Question answered. But within a comment of a post that questioned where a photo of Eric. Whoops. Dan had submitted the page several months ago, but within a comment of a post that questioned where a photo of Eric, his girlfriend Carrie, and Blas Elias was taken, as was all in the same time and space, which was backstage at the Meadowlands on June 30th, 1990, just moments apart. Okay. Fast forward to the here and now, and I happened to discover the author had decided to pull said photo from the comments and make an independent post of it. Eric backstage with a fan at the Meadowlands. Hey! They better have pinned that at the top. That's, if you don't pin it to the top, they tell them to. Backstage at the Meadowlands. She could have at least reached out to Dan and I. Okay, don't put it at the top. She could have at least reached out to Dan and I and asked if it would be okay to do so. But she didn't. Fine. And I can't have FB accounts and recognize me or welcome to and any of y'all, Jesus, any of y'all who do have FB accounts and recognize me here, you're welcome to hop in there and say hi. Hey, I know that bitch. No, don't say that. Say, hey, I know her. Miss Althea on Johnny B's EVH story, epic. Hold that memory dear. Yes. There you go, Miss Althea. Well done. And she's a bit ashamed of me that I didn't have that cord. But you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to, we got Mike Buchanan here. Do we got someone else? Got Sean down there, guys. I told you about Sean. Sean, if you're listening to this right now, hear me and hear me true. Let me know what's going on. I'll even show you right here. I replied back to him. What did I say? I said, I'm not seeing it, dude. Hit me here with it, and we will make sure and get it done. Don't know what happened. So there you go, all right? Mike Buchanan coming in last week of Oktoberfest. And now it's getting a little nipply outside with his outdoor movie projector. Last week of Oktoberfest, and we have a new list of movies that are bad, but we love them anyway, that the missus and I have watched or will watch before Halloween. The 80s edition. All of these are going to be great. Friday the 13th, yes, 1980. Probably the movie that spawned the slasher films. Is it? It was definitely the one that got him gory. The Evil Dead, 1981. The greatest of the Evil Dead movies before they went campy, yes. Watching that was spooky. A Nightmare on Elm Street, 1984. My friends and I snuck in to see this movie. Can't remember what we bought tickets for. Oh, is that it? I thought you were going to give us a little more than that. That's a classic, right? I mean, the first movie, he was creepy as hell. There was nothing funny about him. He's the bastard son of 1,000 maniacs, this guy. In your fucking dreams. Yes. Aliens, 1986. I say we take off and nuke the entire site from orbit. Game over, man. Old, what was his name? Great actor, passed away. It's the only way to be sure. Probably the greatest sequel ever made, yes. And on Halloween night, as a tradition in the Buchanan household, we watch Hocus Pocus. Yes, I know, not a horror movie, but we love it anyways. Mike Buchanan on As I Lay Dying stuff. If you head over to the Wikipedia, they have 2 members listed as being active with the band. So did your roommate paint you like one of his French girls? Hey! No, he paints these beautiful Indian Native American, but he used to paint because he's into jujitsu and all these things, and he never painted me as a French girl. Okay. Mike Buchanan on Jakey Lee. So glad that he's mending. Long road to recovery for sure. 3 bullets will take it out of you. Kudos to him for stepping up to be the good guy. Mike Buchanan on Rob Halford. I wouldn't mind hearing a collaboration between him and Lady Gaga. Someone needs to put an earbud into Rob's ears to make that happen. Yeah, he's done it. He sang with Doro Pesh. He sang with Dolly Parton. He sang with, I want to say, Arch Enemy, Alyssa White Gulls. So he could jump over and start doing Billie Eilish and all that. Mike Buchanan says, did Alex write a book? It's kind of rare event to have him out in public. Yeah, and he sat for a whole 1-hour interview, and he talked about his mom and dad and everything. I'm not all the way through it, but I always thought he'd be some kind of because when they got together, they had that kind of feel, you know. I guess you'd have to be that way if you're around David Lee Roth all day long. There's a video I wanted to do, and it's just amazing. It's one of these, it's probably from like 10 years ago when they got back with David Lee Roth, but it's unbelievably kick-ass. I mean, just the way Dave moves, the singing, the band as a unit. It's got Wolfgang in it. I mean, we'll have to see about that. And now it's time for the Jive Talkin Jokes of the Week, provided by one Mike Buchanan. What is a ghost's favorite party game? Hide and go shriek. What do baby ghosts wear on their feet? Booties. What is a mummy's favorite type of music? Rap. I used to know a joke about rapping. Well, I'd spoil it if I told you, but it was a rap on the door, and a rap on the wall, and a rap on the... I'll have to tell it sometime. I guess I probably should have told it sometime around, I don't know, Halloween. What is a monster's favorite food? Ghoul Scout cookies. Where do ghosts buy their food? At the ghostry store. That's going to work. That'll get me a slap in the chops. That's so damn dumb. That'll get someone saying, let me at him, let me fucking at him, let me at him right now. Let me eat all that stupid joke. Let me at him right now. What do ghosts get when they get turned on? Booners. See, when they're coming at me for that last joke, I go, wait a minute, guys, wait a minute. What do you call a ghost that gets turned on? What do you call a ghost when he gets turned on, guys? Don't beat me mercifully. Then they go, I don't know what. Booners. You're fucking all right. Get over here, you're all right. And finally, what do you call a ghost with a broken leg? A hobblin' goblin. All right, my friends, that is it for this episode. They will be a little bit longer, but I'm only human, right? I'm only human. That's all we are, is we're only human. That's all we can do. What do you want me to do? I'm trying over here, okay? Let's get out of here with a tune. Oh, yeah. Let's get a little bit of... Did I do this one last time? I feel like I did this one. Come on, baby. Come on. How you doing, baby girl? Did you like the podcast? I hope you did. It's a heavy metal news. It's a podcast. Come on, baby, come on back next week for a good time. It's a heavy metal podcast. It's not as good as Eddie Trunk is, but it's a podcast. It's not as good as talking to me. It's a podcast.